So let me go ahead and call this special meeting to order. This is a special meeting of the Manitou Springs City Council for July the 25th, 2023. Judy, would you go ahead and call the roll, please?
Yes. City Council members Judith Chandler.
Present.
Natalie Johnson.
Here.
John Chada.
Here.
Julie Wolf.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Nancy Fortune.
Present.
Mayor John Graham.
Present.
And for the record,
Okay.
I'll put down Michelle Weatherholt as being absent excused. Mayor.
Yes, thank you. Well, this brings back memories, and they're not all happy. Generally don't miss Zoom, but it'll work fine tonight. So we have one piece of business tonight. That's the approval of the audited 2022 financials for the city. So I guess without further ado, I will ask Becca Davis to take the floor and provide a little orientation for us.
Good evening, Becca Davis, Finance Director. Thank you for this special meeting tonight to approve the 2022 audit, excuse me. Budget was last week. It has to be approved by City Council before it can be sent into the State Auditor's Office of Colorado. And the deadline for that is July 31st. So in order to meet that deadline, we were required to have this presentation this evening. Hinkle and Company PC are our auditors and are here tonight to discuss the auditor's findings for the audit. And Timothy Hopelto is, how do you pronounce it?
Hopelto.
I was close.
Hopelto.
Is here tonight representing Hinkle and Company. Timothy?
1 second. I'll make a few notes. Okay, my name is Timothy Hopelto, and I'm the engagement partner for your 2022 audit. And I'm here to present the audit for you guys. So thanks for having me. We tried to get there last week, but I had a scheduling conflict. So we had, and as Becca was discussing earlier, we probably had a little bit of cleanup that we needed to do over the past week. When we present our audits, I've presented a few more than 10. So we talk about our audit process, and then we talk about the required audit communication, which you will receive with the final audit reports. And those will be distributed to you through Becca. And then we can talk about what open items are needed to clear up before we submit the final to you for your submission to the state auditor. And then if you have any questions, I'll try and answer them to the best of my knowledge and ability. Kind of the advantage with Zoom on questions is I kind of have a cheat screen to the left and right of me. So if I'm not looking at the camera properly, you'll understand why, and hopefully my bird brain doesn't Twitter back and forth. So with that, I would like to talk about our audit process. Our process involves planning, followed by testing, and then we wrap it up with reporting. In planning, we update our understanding of the city's operations as well as their controls. And a lot of times we determine some control activities to test for effectiveness that cover most, if not all, of the assertions that management is asserting regarding the financial statements. Based on the planning procedures that we do, we develop an audit approach, which is basically our testing. Our testing involves tests of substantive details of balances and activity, looking at supporting evidence for the amounts that Becca and Nicole have provided to us, as well as substantive tests of compliance when you have a single audit during any audit year. We also do analytic procedures, which is basically developing an expectation of a range of values for a particular item that we're testing and comparing the actual results or balance with that expectation. Based on the procedures that we perform, we prepare reports for compliance as well and for the financial statements. Primarily engaged on the financial statements. We're happy to report that those opinions are unmodified this year. Couple of items we like to highlight in our required communication with governance. Our first item we talk about is our responsibility with regards to generally accepted auditing standards. Our main responsibility is to obtain reasonable assurance that the financial statements are free of material misstatement. And reasonable assurance basically means that we're going to test enough of the balance to get to good enough. We're not going to test all of the transactions. We're not going to test to, we may have a trivial differences that we really are not concerned about. Another item we like to talk about is compliance with ethics requirements. And we're happy to report that we've complied with all relevant ethical requirements regarding independence. That includes myself, our audit team members, as well as the firm as a whole. We're happy to report there are no uncorrected financial statements. We do have a couple of audit adjustments that will be included in your required audit communication, and we can discuss those later in the meeting in our when we talk about open items or when you have or in our question and answer period. We're happy to report that there were no disagreements with management and there were no significant difficulties encountered on our side with regards to performing the audit. We also will request certain representations from management, written representations from management. And that's basically a piece of evidence, a key piece of evidence where management is affirming to the representations regarding the financial statements as well as the single audit. Usually we talk about consultations with other independent accountants, and we're happy to report that there are no such consultations. That's if you like, it's a bit analogous to going out and getting a second opinion about an accounting matter. With that, a couple of administrative items with regards to getting this across the finish line. Our main in charge for the audit has provided Becca with the comments on the MD&A. And once we are good with the MD&A, we'll get the management representation letter out to Becca, and I think the city administrator, right? I think the city administrator would be the principal executive officer of the city. Okay. And once we get that signed back, we can date the audit opinions and get that final document to you. What we usually like to do is have the in-charge auditor and myself go through the final PDF. Usually we find we kind of scan through it and we find 2 or 3 cleanup items before we send it to you. Hopefully we catch all of them. Okay. Once we get the rep letter, I would really like to get a final PDF to Becca and Nicole by Friday, hopefully no later than Friday afternoon. If we're really good auditors, we'll try and get that to you by Friday morning. So that kind of gives you a bit of a time frame. Emma and I are actually heading out to Oklahoma to do some higher ed work on Monday. So I think the 31st is a Tuesday, right?
I thought the 31st was a Monday.
First is Monday.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And Becca, we want to file this with the state on the 31st?
Yeah,
By the
it's
31st?
perfectly okay to file it on the 31st.
That's my understanding.
I might file it earlier. If he gets it to me on Friday, I could file it before the 31st, but it's fine to file it on the 31st.
Right. Any questions thus far? Whether they're about the audit process or the financial statements themselves?
Questions, council? I'm seeing
I know that's a lot of information in a short amount of time.
Yeah, you're a people. Wow.
the council is satisfied at this point, so why don't we go ahead and move along? Do we, Nancy?
Yeah, just bottom line, it's a clean audit. There are a couple adjustments, but it's a clean audit with no deficiencies, correct?
Correct.
So it's a good news story.
Yes.
All right. I always like the bottom line. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Timothy, is there more that we need to discuss? Or do you, I mean, we can open up to questions, but it appears the council doesn't have questions. I think maybe we're in a position where council is ready to entertain a motion. Councilor Johnson,
I move approval of the audited 2022 financials.
thank you, Natalie. Nancy?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the audit as presented. We'll open it up to discussion. Beck, I would like to give you an opportunity to comment. Since you're intimately familiar with this, do you have any concerns?
No. Last week I had some issues, but we have resolved them all. And yes, I made a mistake, but we're getting it fixed, and I will never make this mistake ever again.
It's like,
It involves accruals. That's all you need to know.
okay. I think we're going to be happy. I think we're going to be happy. Okay. So thank you. So you had an opportunity to comment. Nicole, I would ask if you have anything to say. This would be a good time.
We're really happy with the end result.
Good.
So,
Okay. Very good. So we might have a motion, a second. Council, we have any further discussion? Not hearing any. Okay, I think I'll go ahead. Given the kind of format we have, I'll just take a voice vote. So I'll call on you and I'll ask for a yes or a no. Julie, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Yes, okay. Natalie?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Shada?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Judith?
Approve.
I'm sorry, Judith, did you vote? How do you vote?
Yes.
Yes, okay, thank you. And the mayor also votes yes, so we have a 6-0 vote. The audit is accepted and approved as submitted, whereas we're done, okay? Great, okay.
All right.
Timothy, thank you very much. Becca, Nicole, thank you. I'm sure this was, it's nice to get this done. Let's see if we can get this to the state with our usual promptness. We like to be the city that comes in ahead of time and not the city that's remembered as being last in line. So Very good. Well, Timothy, if you can get this to us if you can get this to Becca on Friday, that would be much appreciated. And very good. All right,
All right.
next piece of business is adjournment. Would anyone make a motion to adjourn?
I
I
move
move
to
we
adjourn.
adjourn.
We have a
Second.
motion, I think of Natalie and Judith. Okay,
Or
so,
Julie, yeah.
sorry, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? No opposed. Okay, great. Thanks very much. We'll see you next week. Stay cool.
Bye.
All right. All right.
Thank
Have
you,
a good
Becca.
one.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you, yeah.
Great work.
Thank you.
Great work.